While 2023 was a major year for gaming in general, 2024 looks to be an incredible year for RPG fans. There is plenty of variety on display for 2024's lineup, so let's chronologically take a look at 11 RPGs to get excited about in 2024. While the Yakuza games before Like a Dragon had been open-world brawlers with fantastic plots, Like a Dragon instead took the series in a new direction with entirely turn-based combat. In Infinite Wealth, you'll be able to move characters during their turns and have to perform timing-based commands. You'll be able to update your job class to the likes of Samurai, Desperado, Pyro Dancer, and more, which seems to affect which skills you can utilize in battle. In Infinite Wealth, relative newcomer Ichiban Kasuga and series regular Kazuma Kiryu both take center stage, as the series takes the protagonist overseas for the first time, Honolulu, Hawaii, meaning this time you'll be able to traverse an open-world Honolulu, which, as someone who considers Hawaii to be one of the greatest locations on Earth, I'm sold. By traversing the open world, you'll find various tasks that will deepen the bonds with your party members and help strengthen the overall team. Like previous Yakuzas, there's plenty of side content, including karaoke, dating apps, bicycle food delivery, Sujimon battles, full classic Sega arcade games, and more. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is set to release January 26, 2024. Atlus's Persona series have been slowly growing in popularity over the years, with Persona 5 in particular being a breakout mega success for the series. But as longtime Persona fans will regularly remind you, that doesn't mean you should discount the previous games, which also feature fantastic characters and writing. As the second most played game, Persona 4 Golden tends to get the spotlight in this category of need-to-play Persona games. But Persona 3 has an incredibly passionate fan base. The release of Persona 3 Reload isn't only exciting for the sake of allowing new fans to play the classic game, but the graphics and visual style of the game have also been modernized and updated. That said, some fans are worried about how true to Persona 3 the game will be, and were disappointed the widely considered more interesting female protagonist was excluded from this remake, and it'll also be missing some of the updated Persona 3 FES content. Still, for any Persona fan who still hasn't played 3, this could serve as the perfect launching point. Persona 3 Reload is currently set to release February 2nd, 2024. Final Fantasy VII Remake is back with Rebirth. Final Fantasy VII Remake was, in my humble opinion, an absolutely fantastic reimagining of the intro to Final Fantasy VII, with writing that made the characters feel more human and a better look at the city of Midgar. So I, like many others, have been on the edge of my seat waiting for Part 2 of the Final Fantasy VII Remake series, which is now coming out as Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Rebirth continues the story where Remake left off, with our cast leaving Midgar and finally exploring the planet to stop Sephiroth and prevent a meteor from destroying everything. From trailers of Rebirth, we've seen Junon, Cosmo Canyon, Gold Saucer, using various colored chocobos' unique abilities to traverse the land, Segway riding, and so much more. FF7 Rebirth is currently set to release February 29, 2024, taking up not one, but 2 discs, classic PS1 era Final Fantasy style. Vanillaware has become a developer known for taking their time to make games with fantastic and stunning 2D art. They were the developers behind Odin Sphere, Muramasa, and Dragon's Crown. Their latest project, Unicorn Overlord, once again features stunning artwork, and this time utilizes tactical RPG gameplay. From the gameplay footage, it's a little difficult for me to track down exactly how the tactics system works, although in some ways it reminds me a bit of the original Ogre Battle for Super Nintendo. But that's part of what seems exciting about it. The gameplay system actually feels unique. While tactical grid elements are at points shown, it seems like much of the way the combat works on the map is completely different than the ever-popular grid-based tactics games. And again, I just have to mention just how gorgeous the art is, especially during the animated battle sequences. Unicorn Overlord is currently set to release March 8th, 2024. When Dragon's Dogma first released in 2012, reception was mostly positive, but fairly mixed. However, since then, the game has grown a cult-like following of passionate fans who have been patiently waiting for a proper sequel. The game had a unique pawn system, which essentially gave you specific ways to control and order around your party members. Beyond that, the game was open world and featured action RPG combat with large enemies players could climb on to attack. Likewise, Dragon's Dogma 2 will now see you fighting off against gigantic Talos, which players and pawns will be able to jump onto and climb, finding weak points to attack. Don't want to climb? It looks like you can have flying crow-like creatures give you a lift onto Talus's head. According to producer Yoshiaki Hirabayashi, from a story standpoint, Dragon's Dogma 2 has a similar setting to the first game, but takes place in a parallel world. Meanwhile, you as a player are caught between two kingdoms with conflicting views on how pawns in the game's arisen should be treated, all while facing the threat of a dragon. According to the official website, Dragon's Dogma 2 is currently set to release March 22nd, 2024. However, Steam places it at March 21st, 2024. Back during what I'm going to refer to as the JRPG Golden Era, when JRPGs absolutely took off thanks to the success of Final Fantasy VII, and the PS1 especially saw a massive influx of fantastic JRPGs, one of the game series many players were familiar with was Suikoden. Suikoden was, in part, known for the incredible amount of characters you could recruit into your overall party. I'm talking over 50 unique recruitable characters in the first Suikoden, and over 100 recruitable characters by Suikoden 2. The series was created by Yoshitaka Murayama, and while it was successful at first, didn't last beyond the PS2 era. Enter Auden Chronicle 100 Heroes. The game is, once again, being directed by Yoshitaka Murayama and was successfully crowdfunded on Kickstarter, raising over $4 million at the time. And with the 100 Heroes moniker, it's immediately clear that, like Suikoden, Auden Chronicle will have over 100 recruitable characters. The game merges 2D and 3D art for stunning visuals and seems to feature its own spin on turn-based combat. Auden Chronicle 100 Heroes is currently set to release April 23, 2024. Based on Vampire the Masquerade, the first Bloodlines released in 2004, letting players join a vampire clan and mostly taking place from a first-person perspective. While it was criticized for technical issues, players and critics were impressed with the amount of player choice given in the game. It has since gained a cult-like following of fans eager to see a new entry into the series. And finally, it seems that day is coming. Bloodlines 2 was originally announced back in 2019. The game has since had a very troubled development, resulting in multiple delays. This eventually led to the development studio Hardsuit Labs being taken off the project. In 2023, the game was re-announced and under the development of the Chinese Room. Taking place in Seattle, Bloodlines 2 is now on its way, and similarly sees you playing as a vampire fighting other clans and trying to keep your identity hidden from humans. The game's 2023 announcement trailer shows off the player using multiple vampiric abilities to defeat humans, but overall, not too much was shown yet. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 is currently set to release sometime fall 2024. As much of a smash hit as Persona 5 was, it's been a while since we've seen a new game come from the game's director, Katsura Hashino, because, as it turns out, he's been working on directing Metaphor Ref Fantasia. In fact, the game also utilizes other veteran Atlus talent, like character artist Shigenori Soejima and composer Shoji Meguro. Together, the trio are part of a brand new team, Studio Zero, and have been working to create Metaphor Ref Fantasia. Visually speaking, from the trailers, the game looks absolutely stunning and totally unique. Like Persona 5, the UI looks stylish, and some of the monsters you'll be fighting look absolutely disgusting in the best way. Interestingly, from the trailer at the Game Awards, the combat seems to be a merger of action RPG elements and turn-based elements. There seems to be a town-building element to the game, with one point in the trailer in particular showing you deciding how to grow a town by either promoting local delicacies, placing more effort on tourism, or putting more power into industry. Like Persona, we also see what looks like social links in the game, with your character interacting with Juna and seeming to gain social points based on a response they chose. Expect to fight God sometime fall 2024. After the fantastic Mario RPG on Super Nintendo, relations between Nintendo and Square fell apart, and in Mario RPG's ashes came Paper Mario. While N64's Paper Mario is good, I'm definitely not in the minority of people who think GameCube's Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door is not only better, but the best Paper Mario game in the entire Paper Mario franchise. And in September 2023, Nintendo revealed the game is being remade for Nintendo Switch with enhanced graphics. While from what I can tell, there doesn't seem to be anything else changed, to me, that's just another huge selling point for the game. The Thousand-Year Door has some of Nintendo's best writing, and I cannot wait to not only replay the game, but see a whole new generation of fans get to experience the fantastic game. Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door is currently set to release sometime in 2024. Back during the Super Nintendo era of JRPGs, Seiken Densetsu 2, better known as Secret of Mana, made a major splash. The game had stunning artwork, incredible music, and a then revolutionary action RPG battle system based on its predecessor, Final Fantasy Adventure in the West. Since then, the series has seen some major highs, like Trials of Mana and Legend of Mana, and some major lows, like Children of Mana and Dawn of Mana. But Visions of Mana looks to recapture the magic of the original titles. The game's trailer showcases familiar art design, gorgeous graphics, the mana tree front and center, enemy staples like Rabbites, and action RPG-style combat. This could just be the game Mana fans have been hoping for over a decade now. Visions of Mana is currently set to release sometime in 2024. Hoyoverse, the creators of Genshin Impact, are back with a brand new title, instead taking place in a much more futuristic setting, Zenless Zone Zero. ZZZ takes both fantastical creatures and cyborgs as different factions fight off against strange alien-esque monsters. Players take control of a handler called a proxy that's hired to help the main character through the dangerous areas of the city, all of whom are part of different factions. Unlike Genshin Impact before it, ZZZ drops the open world element and is a little more confined with specific areas you'll traverse. The game seems to have action RPG combat with roguelike elements. Zenless Zone Zero is set to release sometime in 2024. And those are just 11 RPGs to get excited about in 2024. Let us know what you're the most excited about.